What's going on, everybody? Chaseontwowheels here at Killer Creek Harley Davidson. In front of me, I have Harley's 2024 Street Glide. This is the brand new model. I rode the Road Glide. Oh, I say rode it, but I giggled on it a few months ago, and I'm finally getting a chance to ride the Street Glide. It's a first ride. You guys know I'm going to ride this thing around. Stick around to the end of the video, and I'm going to find out if this thing is a purchase or a pass. And without further ado, let's get into the video. He's energized. Alright guys, that's what it looks like and that's what it sounds like. Now this video is not sponsored, but it is supported by our website where we give motorcycles away. Yes, you heard that right. You can go to WBRGarage.com and you can win one of the 2 bikes that we are currently giving away. That website will tell you how to do everything. If you are already a member on the website, we'd love you guys a long time. Let's get on this thing and do this up. First off, my God, the comfort of this seat. Alright. Let's get it turned on. So guys, I'm 5'10", got a 32-inch inseam, and we have a low seat height here. I have very bent legs, as you can tell. All right, look at the screen, guys. I think it's 23.3 inches. Absolutely massive. And we have a couple options with this screen. So we have our little controls, or we have touch screen here if you don't have gloves on. I'll show you guys. The touch screen is pretty cool. Touchscreen, and on the Street Glide it's actually close enough, so we can go to display, we can go to layout. It's actually easier if you use this. So we've got cruise that looks like that, we have sport mode that looks like that, and then we have touring mode. I prefer cruise mode, I think, so we're going to stick with this. And the Street Glide and the Road Glide have 4 different rider modes. They have a rain, a road, and a sport, and then of course they have a customizable mode, which I think is really neat. I'm only going to be messing with the main modes. I'm not going to go into the customizable mode because you guys can just change that for yourself. So without further ado, let's get this first ride going. Oh, and we also have that heel toe shifter like we had with the Road Glide, and I love that so much. So let's get this video started, guys. Goodness gracious, hell, even in rain mode, dude, this bike is so freaking solid. I love it. So guys, a lot of you guys might be watching this video thinking, Chase, you did the Road Glide. Isn't the Road Glide and the Street Glide, aren't they so close there's no real point? But I feel like the fairing being mounted to the forks will give us a big enough change to where this first ride is actually necessary. But yeah guys, I think this is going to be a different enough first ride to warrant both bikes, because having your fairing mounted to the front forks should change it up quite a bit. So guys, this first ride, let's talk about the body position. Very comfortable seat. The seat comes up in the rear, and I find that is holding my body up really well. It doesn't make me want to slouch at all. Legs, we got front controls with floorboards here, so my legs are in a super comfortable position. And then my arms are kind of at a middle point. They're not high up like they were on the Road Glide. So the Street Glide does seem to have your arms at a little lower position here. And I'm a lot closer to this fairing. You know, the Road Glide, it was pretty far away. The Street Glide brings it a little closer to us. Overall, extremely comfortable position. My whole butt fits on the seat. I could see sitting in this for a long time. Now we're coming up to this red light where I'm done with riding in rain mode, and I'm so thankful because while rain mode does okay, it's one of those modes where it tones the bike down so much to where it really feels neutered. You can tell the bike wants to be doing a lot of stuff. So we're in rain mode here. We will flick this back. That'll pop us into road mode. We'll disengage throttle, which we weren't on anyway. And now we're in road mode. Now we get a little bit more of that power. Now, speaking of power, let's talk about the engine powering this thing. It is the Milwaukee 117 cubic inch V-twin. Now, for my Japanese folks out there, or my Japanese motorcycle fans, cubic inch, not the same as cc. So 117 cubic inch actually equates to that amount of cc's. That is good for, I think, about 103 horsepower, but wait for it, 130 foot-pounds of torque. This thing is a torque monster, and you can absolutely tell this thing wants to rip your arms off. And with it being a Harley, you can actually get engine upgrades on these bikes if you for some reason need more power. We'll explore the bike throughout this video and decide if more power is really necessary later on. All right, guys, I want to talk about something that I am a bit surprised on the Street Glide here. Now, when I was on the Road Glide, you know, the Road Glide has that fixed fairing, and the steering is in between the fairing. And I was a little worried about the Street Glide because on this fairing we have this, or on these forks we have this giant fairing. And one of the things I was really impressed about on the Road Glide was how maneuverable that bike was. Harley puts the weight in these bikes so low that it makes them really maneuverable, but I was worried with that big fairing, this bike wouldn't be as maneuverable. I can happily say that is not the case. This bike is somehow just as maneuverable as the Road Glide, maybe 90% of what the Road Glide is. So I don't know how Harley did that. It's honestly shocking. I thought this bike was going to feel a lot more lethargic comparative to the Road Glide, but I don't know what's inside that fairing. I don't know if it's hollow and it just doesn't weigh a ton, but they have done such a good job of maintaining that maneuverability feeling to where the looks and the handlebar position are the main differentiating factors between the Street Glide and the Road Glide from what I can tell so far. Now, it's probably not going to shock any of you guys, but because of that maneuverability, that makes this bike perform very well for city riding. So because of that, this bike is going to be very good for city riding, way more than you would expect a big bike like this. When I rode the Road Glide first, I said, man, this bike's gonna suck for the city streets. It's 823 pounds. It's a ton of weight, and that's gonna be hard to handle. Not the case at all. The only time where we're gonna get going, I'll show you guys when the weight really kicks in here in a minute, whenever we get stopped. But Harley has done such a good job of kind of like finding out the science of how to have such a big bike. Woo! Shit! No cops, right? No cops, no cops, we're good. No cops, we love it. Can we brake? Absolutely. All right, let me show you guys where the weight is. So, the weight on these bikes is actually dropped from previous models, but 823 pounds, and you only feel it when you get to about right there. I can feel all the way to that point. But up until that point, the bike does a good job of keeping its weight like really down low, and it doesn't really affect you as the rider. Dude, I don't know if you guys can understand. That is so impressive for a bike that's 820 something pounds. That's insanity. So Harley's done a really good job with that. I want to get going a bit quicker. This is what I mean. City riding, all that torque allows this bike to be able to just get up and go. Yeah, you guys are going to be super surprised when you ride this thing in the city. It's very comfortable. You expect it to be good in touring, or at least that's where I come into this bike. I'm like, hey, you better be great on the highway. But you get into the city, it's probably going to suck. Not the case at all. Very impressive. Also, I'm finding road mode to be a really good city riding mode. The power seems manageable in road mode, because with the city, you're going to be maneuvering, you're stopping and going. There's going to be a lot of stuff going on. There's a lot of stuff to focus on. Put it in road mode. Don't give yourself the full beans of sport mode, and you can handle it just fine. Power rolls on really nicely. So Harley has done an absolutely phenomenal job really fine-tuning this bike, which it's impressive, honestly. So that is city performance on the Street Glide. The really big question I have now is, I'm impressed that the steering is not hampered by that fairing, but I am a little worried for the highway. At the highway, we got high winds, and that fairing is going to have to be blocking that wind from me. So is that going to translate into the forks? I'm really interested to find that thing out, especially on a bike that's supposed to be great at touring. So we'll see. You know what? While we're here, let's go ahead and flick it into sport mode, because you guys know we got a job to do up here. And by the way, these little indicators, you can go forward and back on them, so you don't have to reach over to get the other side of the blinker. That's really neat. Are we gonna get to go? Oh, we're not. We're not. Okay. All right, guys, in a second, we got to find out how fast the 2024 Harley Davidson Street Glide can go from 40 miles an hour to 80 miles an hour, thanks to our buddies at Law Tigers. And after my wreck, I can confirm they are very nice to work with. Didn't really want to test that out, but was in the situation that I had to. Law Tigers, of course, being the motorcycle lawyer firm that has your back. If anything happens to you on the road, make sure to call them. All right. We are in sport mode. We're going 40 miles an hour. Let's find out how fast the 2024 Street Glide will go. On your mark, get set, go. And that's 80. Right there. Look at me stopping at 80. Haha! Chris, how fast was that? How fast was it? Oh my good God, debris. Bro, there's so much debris on the road today. Holy snap. Anyway, so if you need an engine that goes faster than that 40 to 80, that's when you go to upgrade. I don't think you need that at all. All right, guys, so we're on the highway with the Street Glide here, and I can happily say there is only minimal shaking in the handlebars, to the point that I'm literally having to feel for it. The bike is just tracking super well. This is everything I wanted it to be. I've got my air vents open on the top of my helmet. It's a super hot day today. This wind is going right to the top of my helmet, and just, I can feel the air coming into my helmet from the top. So that's super awesome. I was worried it was gonna block all the wind, but luckily it has this little guy, so you can open it and close it if you want. Super cool there. On the highway here, I'm going in 5th gear. I could even go to 6th. And at 80, I'm only going 3,000 RPM. There's less shaking now. This bike is doing a phenomenal job, just as you would expect for a bike of this caliber. Also, of course, it has cruise control, so we'll hit that button to engage it and then set it. Or if I set it, there we go. So yeah, cruise control is set, bike is chilling. Bro, this bike is so stable. Look at this. Easily could go across the country on a bike like this. I'm in a really comfortable position. This is blocking all the wind from hitting my chest. So even though I'm upright, I'm not having to fight the wind. This is fantastic. Oh, let's see if we can cancel the cruise control by rotating the throttle forward. We absolutely can. Nice job, Harley. Love that. Guys, I gotta say, I'm impressed. I really did expect there to be a lot more shaking on this bike on the highway because of the fairing, but can happily say that is not the case whatsoever. I actually love the floorboards for this situation. My feet are really comfortable. I think I honestly could probably go across the country on this thing and not skip a beat. So guys, I'm going to finish up the highway and listen to some music thanks to our sponsor, Cardo. If you guys want to get a 10% discount and listen to music while you ride, check out Cardo with our link in the description. I'll be right back. Alrighty guys, that's it for the highway. Thank you Cardo for sponsoring the First Ride show. If you guys want a Bluetooth device, it is the best on the market. Definitely check one out for yourself and save some money. I feel like there's a cop behind me, and I'm really hoping it's not, because I feel like I'm probably was speeding at some point. Also, you guys give our buddies Pat and Dooley crap in the comments. They went through this turn so dang fast in the camera car run. I don't know how I did not scrape this bike. I was shocked that I didn't scrape. All I could hear the whole time was Pat laughing because of how close I apparently got. So please give those guys crap in the comments. I would appreciate it long time. That maneuverability, baby, let's go. Harley Davidson, I don't know what sort of chemist and scientist you guys have to make a bike that weighs this much, maneuver like this, is insanity. The amount of lean I could get off of a stock bike that's this big and this wide, also shocking. This bike makes no sense to me. I don't understand how they do anything, yet I find myself being very appreciative. So guys, let's talk about the engine real quick. Overall, while I think if you're used to something like a 1000cc naked, this bike could feel a little slow, but to me, I really don't find myself wanting or needing for any more power. This thing can accelerate incredibly well to highway speeds. So unless you're doing really dumb riding, I don't really think you need an engine upgrade over the 117. I'm super happy with it, especially if they add weight. I wouldn't want to add any more weight. I'm happy with the balance Harley has found here. Talking about the suspension real quick, it seems a little bit softer, and I am 100% okay with that. You know, on a cruiser, I want to be comfortable. I want to enjoy the ride. And with a lot of weight like this, it would not feel right to have a really heavy suspension or a really hard suspension, I don't believe. You know, go talk to one of the King of the Baggers dudes. But for this bike, I think the suspension is dialed in exactly where the vast majority of the guys are going to want it. It's super comfortable. It doesn't hinder me from riding in any way that I want. And it also is plush. I'm going over a lot of parts of the road that aren't perfect, and this thing is comfortable, which really adds to that touring factor of you can put mile after mile on this thing. And I think that's pretty awesome. Talking about the brakes are actually linked, which means even if you only pull the front brake in, you will get linked braking, and I love the fact that Harley did that. This is a big motorcycle, and the weight is all over the place, so the percentage of weight that you, or percentage of braking that you need to do front and rear is very important, but with linked brakes, Harley has already figured all of that out for you. Now, the stock bike is going to be using Brembo components. Brembo, we all know, as a super high-end brake system. But if you want Brembo brakes, you are going to have to upgrade to their like CVO model, which is the like nutsy one. It is absolutely insane, and it also costs an insane amount. So keep that in mind. I don't really think the bike needs any better brakes than it currently has. It's a lot of bike to bring to a stop, and the brakes do a great job doing that. And it looks like I'm not going to be able to show you guys on this hill. This area is a little bit hilled. But the Street Glide along with the Road Glide both have hill hold assist, which basically means you're stuck at a red light on a hill, and the bike's going to want to roll backwards. But if you keep it in gear, you can pull the front brake in, like do a full pull, and you'll see a little H pop up on the screen. That's hill hold, and you'll just hold the clutch in, and the bike will actually stay in place. And Harley's does a fantastic job. When and then if you want to disengage it, all you got to do is throttle out, and their system of like the hill hold disengaging, they have dialed in. It feels really great. Now, as far as the cluster here, let's talk about all that. We got this massive and high fidelity 12.3-inch screen that is a touch screen. Having it be a touch screen on the Street Glide makes sense because I can actually reach it here. On the Road Glide, it doesn't really make sense because I can't really reach it, but there would be no sense in Harley making two different screens for, you know, two bikes that are almost identical. And The other controls are pretty regular Harley. They look a little menacing up front. There's a lot of options, but once you get onto here and you learn what's where, you know, it's like everything else. You get used to it. It's not a big deal. You have your mode button down here. You have all of your controls going on here through the menu. You got your horn, you got your cruise control and stuff like that. And then generally over here is all your music and voice assistant stuff. It is pretty typical Harley where the left turn signal is on the left side, the right turn signal is on the right side. All the buttons feel good. They feel like exactly like you would expect out of a bike with an MSRP of $26,000. Definitely not the cheapest model for sure, but it has got a lot of really premium features that feel great while you're actually using them. Like I showed you guys earlier, the screen has different modes, tons of stuff to dive into that screen. I can do a whole video on the screen. Now, with the Road Glide, it has those two cubbies on the side. Now, obviously, the Street Glide does not have that, but what it does have is a little cubby. As you guys can see, I got my phone in there, I got my wallet, I got the keys for the bike, I got everything in there. And inside of there also is a cable for you to do plugged in Apple CarPlay, which I think is super cool. If I was gonna do a really long distance trip on this bike, I would 100% be using that. Apple CarPlay is fantastic. I'm a big fan of it. And it seems like Android Auto might be going away. So there is no Android Auto on this Devis. I didn't really touch on the gearing earlier, but I would say the gearing is feels a little short. I find myself shifting up through the gears quite often. Not really a good thing or a bad thing. It's actually kind of normal for a bike that is a little more torque heavy than it is horsepower heavy. That's very normal for the gears to be kind of short. You got to think the bike's got a ton of torque and it just powers you through the gears very quickly. So pretty normal there, no problems. It makes the bike fun to ride, especially with the heel toe shifter. Like, you know, you're shifting, you stomp that rear shifter, goes up to the next gear. Very fun riding situation. All right, my friends, this is that point in the first ride where you guys have been looking at that camera car footage thanks to our sponsors. But we're going to pull over and we are going to do a little walk around of the bike. I'm going to show you guys what I like, don't like about it. And shout out to our sponsors, man. If we didn't have those guys, we would not be able to afford to do those awesome camera car angles. So if you guys appreciate those camera car angles, make sure to support our sponsors when possible. It is like directly supporting us. So thank you guys so much for doing that. Sport mode is punchy, dude. Let's test the parking lot maneuverability of the Street Glide. Same situation, man. Impressive. You would never guess that this bike is as heavy as it is based on how maneuverable it is. Look at that maneuverability. Not bad. Lined up with the tree in 147. All right, let's get her in neutral. Let's shut her down. Oh, man, my leg is just barely not long enough to get that kickstand all the way down. Alrighty, guys, 2024 Harley Davidson Street Glide. Man, I gotta tell you, the look on the Street Glide, I don't like it as much as the Road Glide, but compared to the old Street Glide, this thing looks sick. And this might be an award for the absolute longest blinker on a motorcycle. You guys have to let me know if there's a one any longer than that. This is the blue model with the blacked out package. This blue is called that. I always forget. But it is a beautiful blue, guys. You can see all the pearl in the paint. It looks so nice, especially when it's in direct sun. And, you know, if you're a chrome guy, this is not going to be the package for you. But for me, not a big fan of chrome. I love this blacked out package. And I even love the exhaust that run on the way on the bottom. It's a freaking good look, man. And the bike actually doesn't look that big from this perspective, which is kind of interesting. So yeah, like I was saying, that's our big fairing. It's got regular forks. I'm really impressed with the forks on here. They're not top spec forks, and they've done a really good job of dialing those in exactly how they need to. This is that big seat I was talking about. You guys see how it kind of swoops up. It really sets you up as the rider to have a really, you know, good posture. And then a big old rear seat for your passenger if you're one of those people. We also have the bags here, which are lockable, and to open them, you just use this little lever here. Tons of space in there. Not enough space for a helmet, unfortunately, but tons of space. And I really think the bags make the bike. Like, I don't think this bike would look as good if it didn't have those bags on it, in my personal opinion. And the Road Glide's the exact same way. If I saw that bike without bags, I'd be like, what's wrong with the bike? Why does it look weird? Okay, we got the brakes up here. You guys can see the brakes there. Dual brakes up front. And, another cool thing about this bike that's different is that the engine is air-cooled, but the top of the heads are liquid-cooled. So you guys have a little radiator reservoir right there. So that is going to help a lot with that heat management, especially in those really hot climates like here, like in Florida. So you guys in these places are going to absolutely love it. So, but guys, that's the Street Glide. I'm going to grab my phone out of the little cubby. Boop. I'm going to record some stuff for our buddies over on Instagram and TikTok. We are at Chaseontwowheels on TikTok, and we're at C2Pics on Instagram. So I'm going to record some stuff for them. I'll be right back. All righty, my friends, that is my verticals done. If you guys want to check them out with the links in the description down below. All right, phone is going back in the giant cubby, and we have to answer the questions of steering sim lock test and is this bike a purchase or pass? Let's get to it before Chase literally melts himself to death. My butt's burning, and there's nothing I can do about it. Alrighty, guys. Steering stem is, oh my god, all the way locked. Holy shit, we're going to have to be careful on this one. Oh, this is hard with an 800-something pound bike. Dude. Somehow, this thing is in the top 25 percentile. I'm almost in the same parking spot. Holy crap. How the hell are they doing that? That makes no sense to me. Oh my god, air. Air feels so nice. Man, that is satisfying. Holy snap. Alright guys, it's time to answer that age-old question that you watched the whole video for. Is the 2024 Harley Davidson Street Glide a purchase or pass? So for me, I'm going to say pass only because I like the looks of the Road Glide more, period. And for you guys that didn't watch the Road Glide video, the Road Glide was a purchase. So yeah, the only reason I'm not picking this as a purchase is because I'm not really here for the looks. I love the way the Road Glide looks. And if these bikes are that similar, I'm gonna pick down to looks. So that's the only reason this bike is a pass. If you think this bike looks better than the Road Glide, then I would say it's a purchase for you. Guys, this bike's MSRP starts at $26,000. So the ideal rider is definitely going to be somebody with some experience. This is also a really heavy motorcycle. It's 800 and something pounds. And while it handles its weight well, it is something to keep in mind if you're purchasing a motorcycle, which is why I'm not going to be anywhere close to recommending this for somebody kind of new. You definitely need to have some riding experience. It has a lot of torque to mess with, so you got to be careful with this thing. If you guys are looking for a great bike to do some awesome touring on, this stuff is top of the class from Harley. I think they did an absolutely fantastic job with the redoing of both the Street Glide and the Road Glide. Now, before I head out of here, I gotta give a big shout out to our buddies over at Killer Creek. This is where that bike belongs. We are borrowing it from them. We will have a bike provided by link in the description down below. Awesome Harley dealer. They have been fantastic to work with, and we can highly recommend those guys for y'all if you're in the Atlanta-ish area looking for a Harley to jump on. But anyways, guys, if you made it to this point in the video, you're in the outro crew, which just means you watched the whole thing. I appreciate you an extra amount. If you made it to this point, I'm just curious, guys, do you prefer the looks on the Street Glide or the Road Glide more? Let me know in the comments down below. Put OC in your comment. Don't forget to like the video. I'm Chaseontwowheels. You guys go out there and ride safe and share this video out with somebody that is looking for their next bike. Guys, y'all ride safe out there. I'll see you on the next one. Later.